I've got a bit of a combo for you today, and the first item on our platter is none other than the Nintendo Switch, as we've had some helpful figures that give us a picture of how the machine is doing in Japan, and these are thanks to Media Create, which were then helpfully reported by DualShockers, and they are comparing it to how it is doing against the PlayStation 4 in Japan. And as of March 26th, the Switch has overtaken 500,000 units sold, or to be more exact, it is sitting at 519,504 units sold, and took only 4 weeks to break through that impressive 500,000 barrier. Now, they compared this against the trend of the PS4, and at 4 weeks, the PS4 sat at 439,810 units sold, and took 7 weeks to breach that 500,000 figure, and took 8 weeks to reach a similar figure that the Switch has reached in only 4 weeks. Now, what's also interesting is that the two consoles are not actually interfering with each other sales-wise all that much, and that actually makes a lot of sense, to be honest, because they are, of course, targeting very different markets, different types of people. I'm not saying there's no crossover at all, because naturally there is, but a lot of people who are thinking of purchasing a Switch probably already have a PS4, or they are not going to be playing on a console anyway, because obviously the Japanese gaming market is very different. It's very focused on mobile, and that is of course why there is such a focus on how well the Switch is doing there. So basically the Switch is trending just ahead of the PS4, which is definitely good, and already having broken 500,000 sold in Japan is definitely indicative of the console doing well at the start at least. However, it is trending slower than the Wii U in Japan, which took only 3 weeks to break through that 500,000 units sold, and it moved 557,901 units by December 23rd. However, this isn't the most brilliant comparison because, well, the Wii U, as I just said, came out in the holiday period. This is obviously going to give any piece of hardware that's popular or going to be in demand at the time a boost, because you get a lot of people buying it for themselves with their Christmas money, people buying it for other people for gifts, and so on. So, yeah, it's hardly surprising that the Wii U did a little bit better, given that the Switch came out in March, and the Wii U came out right in the throng of the holiday period. However, even though it's not the most fair of comparisons, I still think it's worth considering, because a lot of people are, of course, looking at how the Switch is comparing to the Wii U, which, of course, did not do brilliantly over its life cycle. It is obviously one of the lower-selling consoles, recent memory, especially for Nintendo, and obviously didn't do all that well at all in comparison to both the Xbox One and the PS4. But again, we shouldn't read too much into the Wii U thing. We should really see how it does over the long term. You know, I've expressed many times now my concerns that the Switch is going to be doing well at first with everyone playing Zelda and so on, but as of course the games become harder to find, as of course the launch lineup is not brilliant, we might see this sales start to slow down, or maybe we won't. Only time will tell. So our second item on our list is actually related to the PS4, or more specifically, Destiny 2. Now you may recall that one of the big kerfuffles around the original Destiny was the year-long exclusive agreement with Sony for extra DLC and additional content, and obviously this didn't go down well with players, and I can't really blame them. I've railed against many times exclusive content for consoles or whatever across a game that is multi-platform. You know, I've ranted against it with Assassin's Creed when, you know, because you had the audacity to play it on PC or Xbox One, here's an hour of story that you just don't get to play. You know, that's anti-consumer, that, you know, TM, basically. That is the definition of anti-consumer. It doesn't really benefit anybody except Sony, really, and of course Bungie, who definitely were swimming in them Sony dollars to get this deal done, because we are seeing something different, something the same for Destiny 2, and we are looking at, quote, content exclusive until at least fall of 2018. And we're going to be getting more information at E3, probably a release date and so on for all this DLC. Obviously, we already know that Destiny 2 is rumoured to be coming out for September 8th on PC and so on, but of course we don't know that, and we're probably going to learn that at E3. So let's assume for a second that it does come out in September, and then it's exclusive till fall of 2018. That again is another year of exclusivity for people buying the game on the PS4. So, not brilliant, to be honest, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a big controversy over this again, and again, quite rightfully so, because this is just so anti-consumer. It doesn't even feel like a strong enough phrase to say anti-consumer. It's like, yeah, here's a year of stuff that you just can't have because you have the audacity to own the game on an Xbox One or whatever. Obviously, PC doesn't really come into the equation here with Destiny 2, although there are rumours of it coming out on PC. But regardless of that, it's still just, again, really not brilliant, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of backlash for this as well. But as always, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Your support is always appreciated, and I'll see you next time.